Okay. Go.
Okay.
You have 33 minutes.
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
How did you find out that Mom was pregnant?
Well, it wasn't really obvious at first, but after she kept throwing up day in and day after, every morning, I became suspicious. I finally put two and two together and I realized that she was pregnant.
So she didn't tell you?
Not that I recollect, she might have, but throwing up every morning was a big clue.
So what was your reaction? Were you excited or trepidatious?
It was a mixed reaction. There was excitement and there was trepidation for the future. At the time I wasn't having a job. I was still going to school. So there was some financial implications. And you know how expensive kids can be. They can ruin you financially in no time.
That is true. How soon did you find out Christina was going to be a girl?
I didn't know that till she was born. Back then they didn't have that technology to predict beforehand what the sex was going to be. But when she came out of the delivery room in this plastic box, the doctor held her up by her legs upside down, and I saw plainly she was a girl.
Was the delivery easy? Did you get to the hospital?
Delivery itself was very easy on me. I'm not sure I was on her mother. Getting to the hospital was a different story. We were stopped by the highway patrol on the I-5 freeway. And she was screaming all the time, except when we were stopped by the highway patrolman. So I kept pointing at her belly. And he looked at it, and he said, "Okay, go." So we went. We finally got to the hospital. There was a gate there. And I was so shook up by that time that rather than pressing the button to open the gate, I parked the car there, made her mother walk over these big steps in a full state of pregnancy and immediate delivery, and dragged her to the hospital. And she was whisked immediately to the operating room where she was delivered. Then I was upstairs looking down onto the parking lot, and I couldn't figure out whether there was this long line of cars behind my car, which was sitting in front of this closed gate. And I remembered that I had parked it there in all my confusion.
So did you just ran down there and...
I ran down there and I opened the gate. I pressed the right button, to the very angry response of all the people behind me.
Wasn't it hours, or was it?
It was about an hour and a half.
That's funny. Okay, so what about when you took Christine home? Was she a good sleeper?
She was good. I remember we were living in Newark at the time in an apartment. I remember very fondly there was a rocking chair there, and I had her on my shoulder like this, and I was rocking back and forth, and the next thing I knew, we were both asleep. And then your mother came in, all shook up, that I fell asleep with the baby on my shoulder.
Oh, so is that when she fell on her head, and that explains
No,
so
she
much?
didn't fall on her head at that time.
At what time did she fall on her head?
I remember her falling on her head.
Okay, fine. Was Christina a fussy eater as a baby?
No, she ate almost everything.
So not much has changed?
Not really, no. She ate a lot then, and she still eats a lot now.
Glad to hear you're saying it as it is. Okay, how about was she a big crier?
Yes, not only was she a big crier, she was a loud crier. You could hear her from miles away. She had a voice, you wouldn't believe how loud it was. I mean, I was afraid it would damage people's cars in the neighborhood. It was so loud.
So not much has changed.
No, not much has changed.
Okay. Do you remember when she started talking?
Yes. In fact, we were up in Berkeley. I was attending the University of Berkeley at the time, and she was talking in Greek. So every time he went past the car that was locked, she would say, I can't remember what she said, but the Greek word for it's locked. And every car that we passed by was locked, she would repeat the same word. No, I can't remember it right now.
So she was completely fluent in Greek, or just the certain words?
She was few words, like kubuma. Why I remember that, I have no idea. Kubuma means a bottle top. She used to say that, kubuma. Klidomena is what she said. That means it was locked. Klidomena. Right, so she went from car to car. Klidomena. Kliddomena. Kliddomena me out of my skull. Kliddomena. Kliddomena. How much Kliddomena can a man take?
So when did she start speaking English?
That was kind of concurrently, because I didn't know any Greek, so when she had wanted to talk to the important person, she had to use English, obviously.
Obviously. Okay. What about walking? When did she start walking around?
She walked up in Berkeley again. At first she was a total belly flopper. She was on her belly, and she would wriggle around the floor like a beach dolphin. Very quick, mind you. Had trouble keeping up. And then one day she just got up and walked in Berkeley. And then we took her for walks, and she would do the same things every day, the same steps up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and down and up, the same steps every day for weeks, up and down, and down and up. It was fun.
Okay, let's go to 2.5 years into her life. What was her reaction to her baby sister?
Actually, she was quite pleasantly mature. I remember the day that your mother had to go to the hospital for the second delivery. She took my hand and said, "Let's go, Dad. Baby sister is coming." And she took my hand and she walked me down the street to the Coulters, where she would spend a day or two. Very mature, I thought.
Oh.
No crying, no nothing. She was expecting a babysitter's sister, and she was being the big sister. Even she was only 2.5 years old.
Wow.
Oh, that's too cute.
Okay. How about as a young girl when she's starting school, like kindergarten through 6th grade, taking a big chunk here, but what were her any favorite games or toys?
One of her favorite toys wasn't really her toys, it was yours, and that was this electric car that she sat on for hours on end, driving up and down the sidewalk, up and down and up and down, not giving you much of a chance to use it. That was one of her favorite toys. The other was the swing set in the back. That was a little later, because I think she liked it because of the boy across the street. What was his name?
Alan?
Alan. She used to swing with Alan, basically.
Okay, that's when it started, huh?
Yes.
How about camping? Do you have any favorite camping memories?
Favorite camping memories? Well, there were so many of them. She didn't fall into any rivers. The favorite one I can think of was when you guys, both of you, made those Smurfs, how you call them? The marshmallows with the chocolate.
S'mores.
S'mores? Not Smurfs?
Smurf is blue and a little
Yes.
person.
And then when you played the princesses, and you had a stick that you dipped in water, and you made these pictures on these rocks, which disappeared immediately because the water evaporated. But it kept you busy. And then as we were traveling from campground to campground, you had again had these sticks, pretend they were microphones, and you were singing Blue Suede Shoes. Well, that's Blue Suede Shoes?
That was one of them.
Okay. That was good. They kept me entertained for hours.
Yeah. Okay, good. So the recurring theme here is she's easily entertained. With the car.
Yes.
And the stairs.
Yes.
And the stick.
That's correct.
Okay. So jumping ahead, you already alluded to her crush on the boy across the way, or just the fact that she liked to swim with him. Who was the biggest loser she ever brought home as a teenager? Do you remember?
Biggest loser?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not remember if she was a teenager or not by then, but I remember this Marine, or ex-Marine,
Yeah.
and he struck me as a perfect loser. although I think she thought the world of him at the time. Now with the passage of time, her opinion changed, but initially, I think she thought he was heaven on earth.
Wow.
That was my impression anyway.
Hmm. So tell us, why do you still keep this phone in the kitchen that's still rotary dial?
Well, okay, what in the kitchen?
There's this phone in the kitchen
Oh.
that's rotary dial. Why
Oh,
is
the
that?
rotary dial phone. Well, this has memory, very important memories actually. It was the phone that Christina used to arrange her first date.
Oh.
When she called the boy, she called him on my rotary phone. And the phone hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, it's still there.
It is still there. I'm going to keep it forever. There's history attached to that phone.
Apparently.
Yes.
Okay, so overall, how would you rate the difficulty of raising a teenage daughter on a scale of 1 to 10?
10 being the worst or the best?
The hardest.
The hardest. 9.5.
Wow, she's not even off the scale.
I know.
Wow, that's surprising. Okay, how about college? Did you ever think Christina was going to make it to college?
I had my doubts, but she always managed to get through. Whether she went to a junior college or the four-year college, she almost managed to make it. Surprisingly, she made it. And I'm glad she did.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I'm not quite sure, she must have had some talent. But she always came through in the end.
In the end, that's right.
No matter how whimsical it seemed, or iffy it seemed, she always made it.
Okay. So how did you feel when you learned that she got the position at Wells Fargo and was moving off to San Francisco?
I had mixed feelings. I was glad and happy for her that she got the job. I was not glad and happy that she moved away from this area.
Did you feel honored, though, she chose a city that was part of your heritage?
Well, I don't think she really chose it. Things just happened, but it was better to be in San Francisco than to be in New York.
That's true. Okay. What are your impressions of Christine's business skills?
I think she was very efficient
Yeah.
and thorough and competent.
It's true. Okay, how about your impressions of Fred? Did you think he was good enough for Christine when she brought him home?
Let me think, when she first brought him home. Actually, she didn't bring him home. I met him out in San Francisco.
Okay. Were they already living together?
I think so.
Could you tell he was the one?
I didn't know sure he was the one, but I was favorably impressed. He seemed like a nice, decent young man.
Good. Okay. Well, how about on Christine's wedding day? Do you remember any of the feelings of walking her down the aisle?
Yes. Again, there was a mixture of feeling. There was joy that she was happy. In a sense, a little sad because you feel like you lose some of your daughter.
Yeah. Huh. That was a good day.
Yes, it was a good day. And we have it on tape, complete with a daughter-father dance.
That's right. Okay, well, how about Christina as a mother? How would you rate her motherhood skills?
I think her motherhood skills are beyond reproach. I think the kids are very lucky to have a devoted mother that Christina is. I don't think they could have found a better mother if you tried.
I agree. Okay, now let's think about, as Chris was a baby, how many of her diapers did you change?
I changed one under great protest. And that was only because I couldn't find her mother. So after an hour of driving around town with dirty diapers, I finally said, okay, it's time to change the kid. It's stinking all over the place.
Okay, now in current times, how many granddaughters' diapers have you changed?
Probably 5.
Wow.
I know. It's so against my religious beliefs.
See what a good mother she is? She's got you working.
I know she'll be working. And I'll be doing some more changing coming up next month.
That's right. Okay, well, that's all I had. You have
Okay.
any parting thoughts or anything that you want to remember 40 years in review?
I'm glad I've had her as a daughter, and I wouldn't want anybody else. Except, of course, for you.